Good morning, everyone. Brian Alexander here with Denison Yachting. I have a lot of people ask me, of all the boats that you've been on, what boat do you like the best? And one of the boats that I reference is a boat I shot 2 years ago here at the show. It's called Mimi La Sardine. So you can tell by the footage, the interior of this boat is amazing. It actually won a World Super Yacht Award. Today, I am on the next generation of that boat, the 2021, that happened to win a very similar award for her interior. And that is what makes this boat so exciting to me. Not only do you have what's called the Flexplorer platform that takes you anywhere in the world in almost any water, but when you step inside, it could not be more beautiful. The design brief for this boat was simple, it's industrial, and everything that you're gonna find on board this boat really fits together. It has a great cohesion, so when you walk from space to space, you're in separate individual spaces with unique purposes. As I've already mentioned, this boat is 130 feet long, but I haven't told you it has a 28-foot beam. That really comes into play when it comes to the utility of this boat based on where you're going. This leaves us a huge aft deck. This is where you can keep your oversized tender, and as I'll explain in just a few minutes, this crane system is designed to not only make the boat more stable when you're deploying the tender, but to give you a massive entertaining space when all of the water toys are off of the deck. All of that out of the way, I'm excited to show you this award-winning super yacht. I think you're going to be blown away by the level of detail, the use of the spaces, and just how creative CdM can get. Our first stop on today's walkthrough is going to be the swim platform, 7 steps down from the main deck. Back here we find a few crucial features, like this passerelle located over on the port side that serves as your primary way onto the boat. Another important thing that we find here is the centerline swim platform, which raises and lowers hydraulically, allowing you to inch your way into the water as it converts into a dive platform. At deck level, over on the starboard side is the shore power cable that allows you to plug into any dock on Earth thanks to shore power converters. Finally, centerline in the stairs leading to and from the swim platform is a fully integrated lift-assisted door, giving you a wide entrance into this yacht's beach club. Heading down 5 steps brings us into a full-fledged gym and lazarette. What I like about this area is that it doesn't feel dark, as spaces like this often do. CdM added a lot of life to this area by incorporating skylights overhead that light the area up. In here we find primarily Techno-Gym workout equipment consisting of a treadmill, elliptical, and a stationary bike that can easily be placed out onto the deck for a morning workout. Looking to starboard in here, we see a large area for road bike storage. This is found at the entrance into a conjoined mechanical space where we see a few essential aspects of the boat's go-anywhere capabilities, like an Idromar water maker. We also see where the stanchions for the swim platform are stowed. Aft in here is an air compressor for filling up dive tanks, seen just a few feet from an electric shore power cable reel. Stepping back into the beach club, our next stop is immediately forward, the engine room. One of my favorite parts of any CdM is the arrangement of the mechanical space. There isn't an inch of this room that's out of reach or difficult to service. Let's start breaking down the engine room by the entrance, to starboard, where we have the first of 3 Kohler generators on board, this one 80 kW. Forward of this is the boat's Dometic AC chiller plant that cools the interior down. Right next to this, we have an Alfa Laval fuel polisher that cleans all of the fuel before it hits any important systems. In the middle of the engine room, we see Aurelia's twin Cat C32 Acert engines that give this Flexplorer a cruise speed of 10 knots and a top speed of 14 knots. Forward of the engines is this hatch that offers you a great deal of storage as well as access to the tank deck. Facing the other way, aft, we get a new sense of how oversized and uncluttered this mechanical space is. It's in this area that we have the main electrical distribution panel along the bulkhead. Right next to this is a 35 kW backup generator outfitted with a workstation above for the yacht's engineer. Also in the immediate area is a Selmar Blue Sea 3500 water maker and the third generator in the engine room, this one rated at 80 kW. From here, our next stop is at the very center of the Flexplorer platform. This 130's Aft Deck really is the best of both worlds. An unrivaled deck for relaxing, and as you'll see, an advanced system for getting your tenders on and off of the deck. First, we'll take a look at the deck as it is. In the center of this space is an open multi-purpose deck currently arranged with 4 loungers, each paired with a large umbrella. This area is maximized in volume thanks to the drop-down gunnels that lower hydraulically port and starboard. These are home to some of the stanchions that we saw down below deck. In between the seating, centerline, and the deck are those skylights that I pointed out earlier that illuminate the beach club. When it comes to the deck gear, we look to the aft corners where we see raised winches and cleats protected by rounded gunnels. Next to this on the starboard side, we see a removable folding davit with a Harken winch system for the 4.5 meter rescue tender. The most essential aspect of the aft deck is an A-frame davit system designed to deploy a 9 meter tender capable of lifting over 3 tons. The owner wants to always have easy access to their overbuilt tender. This sophisticated system means that 1, there's no large crane on deck, and 2, that the boat doesn't roll from side to side when the tenders and toys are being deployed, because this doesn't alter the boat's center of gravity. And just as important is how the davit system stores away neatly in the deck, hiding itself completely beneath the teak sole. On the forward end of this area, we transition back to an entertaining area covered overhead by a removable shade. Flanking this seating are port and starboard staircases that lead up to the bridge deck aft, an area that we'll be revisiting later on in today's walkthrough. The shade that hangs over the seating area is mounted to a molded overhead that extends over a wet bar that we see on the starboard side. Here you have storage for everything from food and beverages to an ice maker and a sink. Opposite the wet bar to port is a staircase that leads down into the engine room. And the crew also has access to a side deck that connects the exterior decks with the interior. Wrapping up on the aft deck, our next stop is the World Super Yacht award-winning interior, beginning with the Salon. This feels like no other yacht I've been on before, and as I mentioned earlier, her industrial design brief is why. From the rough and tumble wall coverings down to the small touches like these leather cabinet door and drawer pulls, there wasn't a single design decision made arbitrarily. A cool example of this is the variety in the hardwood flooring. Each board was selected specifically before installation, and you can't help but notice the variety of widths used to create this dynamic floor. The details are plentiful with other carpentry features like this live edge formal dining table. The materials and design are perfect for this space, and the leather finished chairs surrounding the table are an ideal complement. On the opposite side of the salon, we have a starboard facing venue for relaxing with the family. Most notable are a pair of day beds that are arranged beside large windows in the superstructure. The asymmetrical window design of the salon means that there was extra thought put into how much of the outdoors can be experienced from inside. Also found in the area is a leather sofa that runs up the middle of the salon, cleanly dividing the formal dining and the living area. Heading forward, we have 2 options. The first area that we can go to is the galley, which is entered on the port side. Option 2 is to continue forward into the main deck foyer. Seen in here is a winding staircase that wraps around a wine display case. This leads down into the lower accommodations and up to the Sky Lounge in the wheelhouse. It's also just a few feet away from the main deck dayhead. Beyond the foyer is the on-deck master stateroom, which is our next stop. Upon entering, you're first greeted by a multi-purpose space used as a combination desk and vanity, finished with a red leather insert on the surface. This opens up into a living area that spans the full beam of over 28 feet and is a significant piece of Aurelia's award-winning interior. There are a few elements in here that we've seen elsewhere, such as the window and daybed combination to starboard mirroring the Salon. And a few other details that you may otherwise miss show up in here, like black hardware found throughout the yacht on the switches and the reading lights. A tightly stitched Chesterfield headboard accents a forward-facing king berth. At the foot of the bed, you also notice that the TV is on the other side of a mirrored wall. Outboard of this to port is a desk that serves interchangeably with the vanity that we took a look at just a second ago by the entrance. Forward in the master is a split his and hers ensuite. Each side of the owner's bath features a private vanity, designated storage, and individual stalls with a head in each. The two halves that make up the ensuite are joined together by a shower stall. Leaving the owner's suite, follow me down below decks where we're going to take a look at the guest accommodations. Starting in the aft staterooms, we find a pair of mirrored VIPs, each with its own color theme. To starboard, we have the green cabin, while to port, we see red accent upholstery. These VIP staterooms have forward-facing berths and modular furniture arranged around three sides of the bed. Looking at the foot of the berth, we see the TV, which is right next to a hanging locker. Aft in each stateroom is a private ensuite head and shower. The third stateroom found down in the guest companionway is the twin cabin located forward and to port. Across the hall from this stateroom to starboard is the yacht's multi-use laundry center with 4 Miele combo units and crucial storage. Wrapping up here, we're going to jump up to the bridge deck aft, which is where we started today's walkthrough. Surrounded by a stainless safety rail, the centerpiece up here is a teak table in the middle of the space with seating for 10. A few other features found up here include a grill located to port, as well as the starboard side staircase that leads up to the Sundeck. Found below this staircase is cold storage. Forward on the bridge deck aft are 3 glass panel doors that slide out of the way, opening into the Sky Lounge. Without a doubt, this is the coziest space on board. It feels more like an explorer's club than a super yacht in here, and when you get up close and personal with the details you find, the level of fit and finish becomes apparent immediately. A solid example of this is the seating area taking up the port side of the Sky Lounge. Here we have a comfortable spot to relax on an L-shaped sofa or a pair of swiveling armchairs. This seating is placed around a slab coffee table, finished similarly to the dining table. Over to starboard, we have the media center and a beverage fridge below one of the 3 massive glass panels surrounding the space. The last thing to point out in here is the ceiling. I love the plastered concrete finish and how exposed everything is on the overhead. Forward of the Sky Lounge is the upper deck foyer, where we again arrive at the yacht's wine display staircase, complemented by the leather handholds and the leather treads of the stairs, connecting all of the decks. Passing through this foyer, we next arrive in the wheelhouse. This is the final piece of the Flexplorer experience. Designed to get you across oceans in the most challenging of seas, this helm is where that war is waged. This is where we find all of the reliable, next-generation technology you can ask for, along with the most trusted brand names in the industry. There are 5 touchscreens that run across the top of the helm, letting you put eyes on things like the CCTV system and Time Zero chart plotter. Below these are your Furuno radar controls, as well as other important features such as an auxiliary steering system, Mitsubishi stabilizer controls, and the engine controls themselves. In addition to the throttles, we have bow and stern thruster joysticks, AP70 Mark II autopilot, and a Furuno FE800 data display. Something I like about the arrangement in here are the movable helm seats that can slide left and right along tracks in the floor, making any maintenance on the helm much easier. Along the aft bulkhead is not only a bench seat for crew and guests, but also the entrance into the captain's quarter and radio room. And then finally, to port and starboard in the wheelhouse is access to the bow. The third of 4 exterior deck spaces, Aurelia's Foredeck is complete with the seating area on the elevated portion of her split-level layout. There's molded-in seating right next to a high-low table, which are both covered by sail shades that are mounted to the brow of the pilot house. Down a few steps from here, we have the lower level of the foredeck, where the crew has private access to the ground tackle. This includes a pair of stainless windlasses and a crew egress hatch, which are protected from the wind and spray by a wrapping gunnel. The final area for us to take a look at is the Sundeck, which is the most unexpected space on board. With everything else having an industrial feel, the Sundeck is modern in design and features a molded-in area forward. This is made up of a pair of sun pads and teak trim work that share the spotlight with a custom jacuzzi tub finished with mosaic tiles. Thank you so much for joining me on today's walkthrough of motor yacht Aurelia, the Flexplorer 130 by CdM. If you have any questions about this boat, or if you'd like to get on board yourself, you can reach out to us anytime. We'd love to set that up for you. Thanks.